Hello, Maithili Lokhe here. I was the separation lead in the Kalmar carve-out. We are here to tell a story about how Kalmar was separated from the parent company, Cargotec, and maybe going to the topic directly. Yeah. Uh, who are we? Kalmar is a stock-listed company on Helsinki Nasdaq. We are a, a company with 5,000 plus employees. We are the masters in heavy material handling equipment. Um, our goal is to deliver sustainable material handling equipment in the future and to help our customers with safety and all their goals that they would have to achieve in the logistics. Um, going a bit further, Cargotec, the parent company, had three business divisions: Kalmar, Hiab, and MacGregor. Kalmar, which more often is related to the ports, Hiab with the roads, and then MacGregor at the sea. And somewhere in 2023, the beginning of 2023, to adapt to the market changes and the requirements of our shareholders, the company decided, the board of directors decided to demerge the company, basically to carve out Kalmar first, and then to establish Hiab as an own independent listed company. For MacGregor, there were other options that they were looking for divestment in the market. And this was how the timeline looked like. So basically, first out was Kalmar. For target date was July of 2024. And in 2025, to then separate MacGregor from the remaining company and then list Hiab as an own company. Maybe going forward a bit, and I want to give the stage to the more technical experts to talk about how it was done. So this is a slide that talks about timeline and the top challenges that we had. So starting with legal separation, because we had some companies that were working in under some companies in Hiab and Kalmar, which were under the same legal entity in more than 10 countries. So the first step was to separate those out that we considered as the logical separation, and that took a good amount of time. It took almost more than 6 months. Very complex separation, and there we did not use any tools. We used our own in-house tools to separate the data there. Then came the day one. Day one was when Kalmar was supposed to get listed on the stock exchange, and there we had the challenge that we had to separate a lot of applications, not just a few, but we had 285 plus applications to be separated, out of which 100 plus applications were separated already on day one. And the third challenge was to separate the SAP ERP, which is the backbone of most of our systems. And that was planned somewhere in September of 2024. So we we listed first, and then in about 2 months, 2.5 months, we carved out the SAP ERP. And we couldn't have done this without the product selection and the RFPs for the vendors. And now looking back, very happy that we selected TCS as our partner for separation and SNP as the tool for the data migration. With this, maybe I hand over to Sajid to talk about the TCS perspective.
Thank you, Maithili. Having said that, such a complex separation exercise, wherein which the stakes are quite higher, and we are chasing dates basically, and no slippage is possible whatsoever in terms of the milestones, like Maithili pointed out, starting with the logical separation, which is very crucial and mandated by the for the stock listing of Kalmar as a prerequisite, so-called day zero readiness. So TCS started, and TCS and Cargotec and Kalmar relationship goes way back 10 years, more than 10 years, especially in ERP services and SAP services. So with the contextual knowledge of TCS, the tremendous process knowledge and all, Then when TCS was selected as a single partner for the logical separation as well as physical separation, I will come back to that in a second. So TCS worked on three broader areas. One is the program governance across multiple waves, like Maithili pointed out. The separation is not only from applications, but holistically end-to-end creating a standalone IT infrastructure for Kalmar. That includes network, infrastructure, applications, processes, end-user services, so on and so forth. Multiple suppliers, more than 40, 50 suppliers are involved, and TCS played key roles in terms of managing the waves wherein multiple tracks are coming together, and also end-to-end ownership of the logical separation as well as the physical separation. When talking about physical separation, by far the most complex application within the entire Kalmar landscape. And the only option is to go for a big bang go live. So TCS really needed a partner, a tooling specialist. There comes SNP. So TCS leveraged our global partnership with SNP, and wherein which together TCS and SNP conceptualized, designed the target architecture, did a detailed analysis, and set all preparedness for a big bang go live. And also, as Maithili pointed out, we are glad to present it here after a successful project on this. And it was first time me as from TCS, I've been with TCS for 17 years. And this is the first time I worked with SNP. So thanks to you, Helen. Helen is not on stage and always support you in terms of managing the expectation of TCS as well as the Kalmar as a relationship. So I'm not taking much of my time. I will hand over to the technical experts further to a little bit detail on the process of separation.
Maybe you can come.
We can go there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Farooq, Enterprise Architect for Technologies at Kalmar. Maybe introduce a little bit.
Hello, my name is Matthias Wienerreuter. I'm the project manager from S&P side.
Welcome. It's glad to see so many people after 4 o'clock, isn't it? I am just been told by S&P and the organizer there is a special drink for the people who stay after 4 o'clock and listen to us. So thank you for that, and don't forget to take your drink after this session. Okay, I will jump into the meat of the project, which was the carve-out of SAP. This was the last bit in our waves, wave 1.5. It was really high stake for our company because our first quarter result depended on that. So I'll start with what we tried to achieve. So we had a big system of 10 terabyte, and we had to take the Kalmar specific data to our new landscape. That was our target. How we decided the approach was to have like the standard approach, but we added a little bit of our specialty in that. So the standard approach probably is to do the migration, identify the bugs, fix them, repeat. We did that, but we added one more thing. We added the challenge. So after each iteration, we'll challenge ourselves and we'll challenge our partners. That resulted in some heated discussions, but ultimately I think the quality of the solution and the result was improved because of that challenge. So that was the theme which we used. We did multiple iterations, and finally, we achieved our targets. The complexity level of the solution was very high. The reason being the company being operated under same company code in a lot of countries, and Sajid and Maithili mentioned that we had a legal split, but the data was so much merged with each other, it was really hard to do the finalization of the blueprint. But finally, with the iteration and challenging ourselves, we were able to manage to solve all the data. Another complexity we had was we had a lot of third-party applications. If standard solution is there, I think S&P tool works amazingly. But for those custom solution and third-party solution, you have to really work hard to make them work because the testing becomes so much harder. And we have a long process where it has to go through the multiple solutions. And the final part of the project was the cutover. And that's where the real magic happened, basically. And we worked as a team, Kalmar, TCS, and S&P. We all worked as one team, working towards one goal to have a minimum downtime and quality of data. And I think we were able to achieve that together. I'll hand over the next slide to my friend in crime, Matthias.
Thanks a lot, Farouk.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is not for me, but I will start anyway. So in a carve-out data migration, it all comes down to selecting the right amount of data and bringing it over as quickly as possible to the target. So I summarized 3 main pillars which made this project and this data migration so brilliant. Number 1, having a clear data migration strategy. So in each of the 4 migrations we have done, so 3 test migrations, 1 go live, we always went for the full scope. And this is not to be underestimated, because at the very beginning, we in the data migration or a tester will always find out flaws in the data migration, in the concept or whatsoever. So this helped tremendously. Another very good point was that we had a clear separation of responsibilities. Means S&P did the data migration, performed the checks, then handed over to TCS. Then there was back and forth with corrections, with checks, and only then we moved further to Kalmar in the various tests, integration tests, user acceptance tests, and so on. So this played out really, really well, and that's always good to see from a project management perspective that this is great. So this was more the part of how to select the data, get it right, and now we are coming to 2 main pillars, which about how to get the speed. So high levels of parallelization. How we're usually doing the data migration is we're running an export, then we have checks, is the export okay, and only if this check mark is passed, we go along with the import. This time it was very different because we were looking for the hours, where can we save some time. What we did is we dissected the migration objects, we checked the dependencies, we even took the biggest tables out of the standard migration objects, put them into long runners, and in the end we distributed the guys, you're working on exports, you're working on imports, and trying to parallelize as much as possible. Of course, this was not all done with the first test migration, so this had to evolve, and yeah, this took some time, and this, what Farouk before said, there were some good discussions, and we got the best out of us from all sides. Third pillar is performance tuning. So before and after every test migration, we had the performance reviews. We were really checking how good was the sizing of the system? Do we need to increase database instance? Do we need to ramp up application servers? Along with that, also checking on the parameters. Is everything okay based on this sizing? And then, of course, also checking are the selects okay? Are various tables taking longer? So there was quite some blood into this topic, and in the end, it really paid off. And yeah, shout out also to our performance experts who are using a great tool from us, the S&P Crystal Bridge monitoring, which in the end gives us this information. So where is the peak? How much further load we can put on the system, and where we have strengths and where we have weaknesses. And with that said, yeah, it's a quick glimpse to the data migration. I hand over now back to Farouk.
Yeah, thank you, Matthias. So here are some numbers, basically, what we achieved in this carve-out. When we had the cutover, there were like 17 applications with SAP which went live, and there were another 26 applications which were depending on that. So we had to coordinate all the application and do the smoke testing too, in order to make the cutover successful. There were 4,000 plus test cases which were executed, and there were like more than 250 people actually involved in all those things. It was one of the most complex things I think we have done at Kalmar in the last 15 years. Thank you. With this, I will hand over to the key success, and it's you.
Yes, it's me.
Okay.
Telling about the first one. So
And we can.
in the beginning, we thought about who picks which key success factor, and I took basically the streamlining of the data migration, really working so well together, executing, tuning, doing the validation back and forth, and I don't remember any real delay, although we had quite some tough timeline to get everything done. So for me, the key success factor was yeah, having a streamlined data migration and having really every puzzle fitting together. That was beautiful.
I think the second one I took, right?
Yeah.
So ensuring full test coverage. So as I said, we have been doing the iteration and testing. And to be honest, I think we had almost zero major defect after the go live. That was a big thing because uh, in the management, a lot of people were expecting a few major issue, but we were surprised to see there was no major issue after the go live. That was a big surprise, very positive surprise, basically. Uh, there were smaller issues in the go live, but we were able to manage them on the spot. I hand over to Mathili for the third one.
Yeah, I think I picked the business continuity because I think the date that we chose for the SAP Go Live was exactly the month when we would have the first quarter ending for Kalmar, independent Kalmar. And there was a lot of resistance from business that they would not like to do, business and finance both, that they would not like to have the Go Live in September when they would have the quarter ending coming. What if something breaks? So I think um, communicating enough and communicating long before. I think that's a lesson learned from our side. We struggled a lot to get these approvals for the September go live, but after ensuring all of the TM0 to TM3 or TM2 results, but I think that's one thing that if someone is going through this kind of a journey, then that's one thing to consider, that please communicate to your stakeholders, right? Because we in IT somehow try to plan everything, but it's not necessarily communicated so well to all the divisions in the company. So that's one topic that I would like to emphasize as a key success factor. So
Before you move to Sajid, I want to mention the last point. Uh, so we worked as one team, and given a choice, if you have to do it again, I would gladly choose TCS and S&P to do it again, gladly.
Thank you, Farooq and Kalmar for this. I would pick the dependencies. For example, we talked about much on the SAP separation as such, but actual that particular cutover weekend, along with SAP, 17 other applications are also getting carved out. That means the impact to the SAP and the connected applications and the carving out applications, and impact to the remaining company, which is the high-up, the other company which is staying. So we have to shut down those businesses as well. So the interdependencies and to have a synchronized cutover plan or a run book, which is quite essential. And I would pick, like Farooq was highlighting it, the key success factor overall for this has been the one team culture. And there was, because like I said, you may see TCS and S&P as a key supplier in this stage, but there are 45 different suppliers involved in the entire Kalmar separation. And the separation management office of Cargotec and also the leadership of Kalmar, every supplier is treated as equal and everyone is with a common objective. Thereby, we as a team for Cargotec and Kalmar able to achieve the results and the objective of the original, the separation or a demerger of Cargotec initiative as such. So we have ensured Kalmar is completely separated, standalone, stock listed, having their future on their own, and also having a, most importantly, a shorter TSA window. So thank you, Kalmar, for trusting TCS, and thank you, S&P, for being a partner for this co-delivery. Thank you all.
Thank you.
thank you.